in this video you want to discuss the idea of Trig graph, right? So what I mean by the Trig graph here is the trigonometric graphs using these questions. These are pure exams questions, so make sure that you watch the video to the end. I say you should draw the graph of y is equal to 4 plus 2 cos s, right? So we are going to draw the graph of y is equal to 4 plus 2 cos s for the value of s from 0 degrees to 2 pi at the interval of pi on 4, right? So pi divided by 4, right? To break everything down into the simplest form here, all that we are trying to do here is that we want to know exactly the values of this y. So to break everything down, let's say we want to determine the age of two people. So let's call the man, right? So the man here to be y, right? So we are calling this man y, and then the woman here, or maybe a lady here to be our x. Is that okay? So we want to determine the ages of all men here, and then using the values of the woman, right? So if you know the age of one woman, we can easily determine the age of the man using this machine. So this is the machine that is going to help us, right? So three things that are involved here is the x goes straight to the machine here, and then we come out with the values of the y, right? So this is the age of the woman. So this is the machine that will help us converting the age of the woman to determine the age of all men here, right? So that's just a simple scenario for understanding. So in graphing, you need three things. You need the x, the machine, which is the function, and then as well as the outcome, right? So this is our machine that we are going to use, and then we are giving the values of the x. So that's the s from 0 degrees to 2 pi. So 2 pi here is the pi here is 180, right? So pi is 180. So 2 multiplied by 1, that will be 360 degrees. Is that okay? At the interval, so meaning that if you start from 0, yeah, your next one will be pi on 4. So we can easily convert this thing, right? So convert this thing to pi on 4. This is, as I said earlier on, this is 180 divided by 4. So 180 divided by 4, that will be 45. So if the first one is 0 degrees, the next one will be 45 degrees. Then the next one will be and then so on and so forth. Is that okay? So followed by 90 degrees up to the last point. So which one will be the last one? The last one here will be 2 pi. That is 360. Right? So that's let's see how to draw the table and then arrange our numbers in that order. But don't forget that there's some questions here that says use your graph to find the value of what. So it's very, very important. Use your graph, right? So this is the key word here. So use your graph. Don't use anything more, right? So use your graph to find the values of x. So you are going to use the value the graph here to determine the values of the woman here, this woman here, for which y is equal to 2. So if you have a man that is out by assumption is 2 years old, what to be the age of the woman, right? So we are going to use the graph to determine that, and then you want to find the truth set of this thing here. So you want to find the truth set of cos s plus 1 is equal to 0. So make sure that you watch the video to the end and see the trick. Here, remember, we are not giving any scale to use on the graph. So how do you get that scale, right? So we are not giving any scales on both sides. That is the y-axis and the x-axis to determine that. So make sure that you watch the video to the end to see how best we can solve this problem. So I have this beautiful table here. So let me explain this one. Here we're having the x here. So as I said, this can be the woman. So if you are at 0 degrees, right? So this is by assumption. If you are at 0 degree here, so let's pick this 0 degree and plug the 0 here into the function, right? So this is the function. This is the machine. Wherever you see this x here, you are going to replace that by the 0, right? So if you plug 0, you are going to have 4 plus 2 cos 0. So cos 0, that should be 1, right? So cos 0 1. So 4 plus 2 here is equal to 6. So this was how I got 6 here. Alright, so here if you have 45, remember we were told that the interval should be pi on 4. Pi on 4 is meaning that 180 divided by 180 divided by 4, right? So 180 divided by 4 will give us 45 degrees. So if you have a 45 degrees here, right, from 0 to 45, and then the next one will be 90 degrees. So the same thing, you are going to pick this 45 here, plug that into this machine, right, and just solve that nicely, and then write your answer now, right? So 90, the next one will be 90. Remember that we are going to add 45 to this one. That will make it a 90. So 90 into the function, and then you have your 4.0 0, 0, right? So the same thing that you keep on moving until you get to the last one. So remember, the interval for the s was from 0 degrees to what? To 2 pi, right? So 2 pi from 0 degree and then to 2 pi, right? So 2 pi is on 360. Is that okay? So we are going to end on 360. So take some time and just maybe you will pause the video, come back and come and check the solution for the values of the y at this point. Okay, nice one. So these are what the values of the y that we get, right? So these are the values of all the y, right? If you have any question, make sure that you comment down below. And then if you're enjoying the video, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. Share the link, invite others to come enjoy themselves. Okay, now let's move on. They say you should draw a graph. So what do you need? You just need these two people to draw the graph, right? So the most important thing, as I said earlier on, is the scale. So the scale that we are going to use. So let me demonstrate the graph here. The tricks for determining the scale of what a graph is using the values of the smallest value of the s. For the s, we are giving the interval. That's why we say that from 0 to 2 pi, right? So from 0 to 2 pi is the same as what? From 0 to 360 degrees. I would advise you to use the degree, right? So it's from 0 degrees to 360 degrees. So that is what we are giving. But for the y values, you just have to pick the smallest or the youngest among them. What I mean by the youngest here is the smallest number, right? So that one will help you to determine what your scale here. Is that okay? So the largest among all these numbers, you can see that should be 6, right? There's no any number that is bigger than 6. Can you see? So the largest there is 6. So that is what you are having. And then the smallest will be the smallest among these people will be 2.00, right? So 2.00 is the smallest one. So that gives you the idea on what to use, and make sure that depending on the graph sheet that you are using, right? So if you want to know more about this graphing, you should have a graph full video on this channel. So make sure that you check the playlist, right, on the graph, so you see everything that I'm saying here. But the trick here is that just draw. So this is a very simple scenario here, right? So this is just a scenario. Assuming this is our graph. The reason why I'm using what left and right here is that because we don't have any negative number among us all our values, right? So this will be our x axis here, right? So x axis is always from left to right, and then we have the y axis here. So this one will also be the y axis, right, from down to top. So this is what that we are having. So they are going to work in pairs. What I mean by in pairs there, this guy is 0, so your partner is 6.0, right? So here let's number this axis here. So from 0, right? So this guy is 0, and then next one is 45. Is that okay? So 45 degrees here, right? Can you see? From 0 we are going to have 45 degrees, and then what about the next one? So the next one will be 90. Pause the video and come back and come and check everything. So 135 degrees. This is all simple. I've numbered everything, right? So these are what on the x-axis from 0, 45, and then 90 up to 360 degrees, right? So this is what our x-axis, right? So this is what the x-axis, and then for the y-axis, as I said, you have to pick the smallest number. So I choose to start from what? From 1, right? So from 1. The trick is that you must make sure that your graph covers like almost 3/4, maybe 3/4 for the entire sheet. Is that okay? Okay, now let's plot the point. So we are going to pick 0, right? So we are starting from the 0. So the x here, the s is 0, and then the y is 6, right? So the x is 0, and then the y is 6. So here is the x, which is 0 here. We don't go left, neither you go right. So x is 0, stand here, and then go straight up to what? Where the 6 is. So where is the 6? Have you seen that I'm walking on the line? So walk on the line. Don't go this way, right? Don't go this way. Neither you go this way. Is that okay? Walk upward. So straight forward. So from 0, walk on the 0, and then locate your 6. So here's where 6 is. So make your asterisk there, and then followed by your 45 against 5.41. So 5.45. So 45 here. We have a 45 here against 5.41. So 45 against 5.4. This is by an assumption. So if you are using a pure graph, you have the subdivisions, right? So 4.5, that should be somewhere here, right? So somewhere here. And then the next one is 90 degrees against 4.0. So here is my 90 degrees, and then again, so 4.0, so 4.0 is on the 4, right? Obviously it's on the 4, so this guy is on the 4, so 4. So the same, we have to plot all the points, right? Okay, these are my points, right? So these are my points here, even though this is not drawn to scale. Is that okay? So this is something you should have on your graph sheet if you are following what along, right? So this is a very beautiful one. So your next line is to join all the points together. So you are going to join all the points together using a freehand, right? So from a freehand here, so from here to here, is that okay? And then from here to this point, and then from here to here, and then you are joining all the points together, right? So as I said earlier, this is not drawn to scale, right? So but it should look something similar to the one that I'm having, right? Okay, now this is what I'm having, right? So this is what I'm having. It should be something like this. Is that okay? All right, so perfect. If you are doing it, make sure that you comment down below, right? So if you are doing this, make sure that you just comment down below. Okay, now this is something perfectly that you should have on your graph sheet as at this point. Now this is our graph. Now let's see how to use this graph to solve our questions that they are asking us to solve. Now the questions that they are asking us to find is that we should find the value of x, right? So we should find this value of x when y is equal to 2. Is that okay? So we want to determine the woman here that has a partner to be 2. So this 2 can be anything you can think of. Is that okay? So this is what we are asking. But remember, the question said that you should use the graph. So how are you going to use this graph here? Now the trick here is that this is what you are giving. You are giving y to be equal to 2. So you have to go to your graph and go and locate the y equal to 2, right? So where is the y equal to? This is the y axis, right? So this is the y apartment here. So here you have y to be equal to 2, right? So here, if you stand here, the curve is our destination, right? So you have to move straight here to meet what? The curve. So we are going to what? Meet the curve. Is that okay? So here, this point here, when y is equal to 3, we are meeting the curve at this point. Is that okay? Once you meet the curve here, that is your destination. Like, look at something. Even if you go forward like this, we are not going to meet any curve here again. Is that okay? So if you stand and then you stop here, you are not going to meet any curve here, right? So if you move from this point up to this point, make sure that you are going to meet the curve. You are giving y equal to 2. So once you meet the curve here, then you turn down to the x-axis, because that's what the question is asking you to do. They say you should find the value of x when the value of x when y is equal to 2, right? So you stand at what? The y equal to 2, and then you move it. Once you hit the curve here, then you go down, right? You go down to the x-axis. Is that okay? You go down to the x-axis, so you consider the value here is 180 degrees. Is that okay? So the value of x when y is equal to 2 is 180. Right? So that is how simple is that. Should in case you have been asked to find any other number, let's say I may say that maybe y is equal to 5. Is that okay? When y is, we want to find the value of the x here when y is equal to 5, right? Simple and sure. You can see that you stand at what? Where the y is equal to 5 here, right? So y is equal to 5 at this point here, right? Y is equal to 5. So as I said, you move straight, we are going to meet the curve. So once you meet the curve here, then you go down, you trace this thing down here, and then you go and meet the x axis, right? So this point here, any value that is here is exactly the number that they are asking you to find. But look at something. Here you just have to look forward and see. If you check, if you move forward, are you going to meet the curve again? Yes, because this is something like a quadratic, right? So if it's not a circle, so look at the way the graph looks like. So the trick here is that you have to move forward and meet the curve. You are not meeting the curve at only this point, but you can still meet the curve somewhere here. Is that okay? So you just need to keep on going, right? So you keep on going here, right, until you get there, and then you move down here to locate your value. Is that okay? So this is how simple you find the values of x when y is given, depending on whatever they have given you, right? So that is a very simple industry. If you know that you are doing this dialogue, make sure that you give the answer to y is equal to 5 in the comment section below, right? So make sure that you give the answer to this thing. Now look at the next one. So now this is the second part. They say you should find the true set of cos s plus 1 equal to 0. Remember, there's an emphasis that says that using your graph, right? So the trick to this thing is that you must make sure that this guy here looks similar to the function that's being given to you, right? So this is the machine. We are having 4 plus what 2 cos s. You have to make sure that this thing, whatever you have been given to you, looks similar to this one, right? So you can just rewrite this guy to be something like this. So you have 0 here, which is equal to cos of what s plus what 1, right? So you are just what interchanging the position, right? So this is very, very simple. So you want this guy to look similar to what can we do here? But the first step here is that you can multiply through by 2, right? So you can multiply everything here by 2 here. So if you are multiplying by 2, you are going to have this guy multiplied by 2 give us 0, right? That should be equal to 2 cos what? Cos s, and then plus what? 2 multiplied by this one will also give us what? 2. Still, we are not there. We are having 4 plus what? 2 cos s. So what do you think you can do here? We can multiply what? Through by what? Or we can add, right? Sorry, we can add. Is that okay? We can add what? 2 to what? Both sides of the equation. Can you see that? So if you add 2 to the 0 here, you are going to have 2 here, which is equal to what? And then 2 cos what? Cos s, right? So let me change the pen here, and then let's see what is happening. So let me use a red pen, right? So permit me to use a red pen here. So you have 2. So we are adding 2 to the both sides. So here plus 2, right? So and then here 2 plus 2. Is that okay? After what? We multiply through by what? By 2. So if you add 2 to the 0, we are going to have 2. And then here, if you add 2 to this one, you are going to have 2 cos what? Cos s plus 2 and then plus 2, right? We are adding 2 to the both sides of the equation. So we are going to have 2 which is equal to what? 2 cos what? Cos s and then plus 4, right? Have you seen that? Whatever is here is exactly the function that's being given to us, right? So this is the function. So here we can just rearrange this. What I mean by that, here can be, you can bring the 4 because additions are commutative, right? So 4 plus 2 cos s, right? So 2 and then cos s. So this looks similar to what we have been given. Is that okay? So what we have been given is exactly. Then we have here to be 2, right? So this 2 here is also exactly the y. So that is why you have to make sure that you rewrite the function. Anything that has been given to you to look similar to the function that you are dealing with. So if you have a y to be equal to 2, then we can easily go back to our first problem when y is equal to 2 or when y is equal to 5. So in this case here, we are having y to be equal to 2, right? So y is equal to, we are just replacing. They say you are this person. So if you see this guy, we can call it the one watching me right now. So let's say you are y. So this is your definition, or this is your image, right? So if I see whatever I see, I can call you by y. So whenever I see this guy here, instead of calling it y here, we are having 2 here. So we are going to call this guy 2. So remember, this is the graph that we are dealing with, right? So this was the graph. This was the graph that we are dealing with. So y is equal to 4 plus or 2 cos s. This is the graph. So if y is equal to 2, what will be the values of 4? Or what will be the truth set? So the same thing, y is equal to 2 here. We just need to trace this guy to us at this point, right? Very, very simple. And then you read the values of the x, which is 180. Remember, they say the truth set. So we are going to write the truth set. So s that s is equal to 180 degrees. Right? So this is how simple you write the truth set. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this.